This is the vocabulary PowerPoint for the week of September 20th. The first word we are going to go over is inhospitable, and you will notice that you see the word written in red, black, and blue. Well, that is because inhospitable has a root word, a prefix, and a suffix. So the root word is in the middle here. It is written in black, hospit. Well, hospit, I'm thinking about hospitality. And if someone shows hospitality, they are very friendly and welcoming. But then I see the prefix in. In means not. And I also see the suffix able, which means capable of. So if I put all of those together, the prefix, the root word, and the suffix, inhospitable must mean not capable of being friendly or welcoming. Let's check that against the official definition according to dictionary.com. Inhospitable means not inclined to or characterized by hospitality as persons or actions. So that means that a person might not be thought of as hospitable or friendly, but someone's actions can also be inhospitable. So if I was describing something as inhospitable, I could also say that it is hostile or unfriendly. But if I'm looking for a word that is the opposite of or an antonym of inhospitable, I might describe it as friendly or nice. So normally it's friendly and nice when people have a welcoming mat, but if I walked up to a place and it said leave on the welcoming mat, then I might take that as a sign that the people that live there might be inhospitable. They might not be welcoming or friendly. So at this time, you can pause the PowerPoint if this is a new word to you and add inhospitable to your personal dictionary. If you already understand what inhospitable means and this is not a new word to you, then you can just keep playing. Each time I finish going over a word, you are welcome to pause and add that word to your dictionary and work at your own pace, or you can continue watching the PowerPoint. This PowerPoint will be available for you to go back and rewatch. So if you are playing a vocabulary game and you get to some words that you don't know, then you can pause and go back to your notes, or you could pause and go back to the PowerPoint and see what that word means. We're going to go ahead now. Next word is refuge, which is a noun. A noun is a person, place, thing, animal, or idea. So here it says refuge means shelter or protection from danger, trouble, etc. So that means it's a noun because it is a thing. It is shelter. Another word for refuge, if you were taking refuge, if you find refuge, you find a fortress, a haven, a hideaway, a hideout, sanctuary. So the opposite of finding refuge would be finding danger. Whenever I think about a place that you might take shelter from, I'm thinking about a stormy sea and you might have a lighthouse where you could take shelter. Or I'm thinking about in the middle of a snowstorm, you might find refuge in the form of a cabin or a home. So a refuge is a place or a thing where you take shelter. The next word we are going to go over is flourish. In this case, it is a verb. The definition of flourish could be to be successful or prosper. So I'm thinking about a business could be very successful and a business could prosper. Another definition of flourish is to grow luxuriantly, to thrive in growth as a plant. And you can see in the corner there is a plant that is flourishing. It is all green. It is overtaking the container. So it is flourishing. Some synonyms of flourish. Well, if I'm thinking about the plant, I might say that I saw it bloom or blossom. If I'm thinking about a business or a person becoming successful and prospering, I might say that it's developing, it's doing well, it's expanding, it's multiplying. As far as an antonym, if I'm looking for a word that means the opposite of flourish, then I might say that the business or the person or the plant was decreasing or failing, lessening, losing, shrinking, shriveling. So we can see the plant flourish, and you can also see there a business flourishing. The next word we are going to go over is absorb. One definition of absorb is to suck up or drink in, for example, a liquid. For example, a sponge absorbs water. You would not want to use a non-absorbent sponge because you want a sponge to soak up water. You want it to be absorbent. You could also swallow up the identity of or individuality of or incorporate. So if one business buys out another business, you might say the bigger business that's buying out the other one is absorbing the smaller company. It's swallowing up that identity. You could also think of an empire or a nation if it absorbs many small nations. So if in history you learn that one country took over another, you might say they absorbed the identity of the country they took over. Absorb can also mean to involve the full attention of, to engross or engage wholly. So if you are enjoying your reading so much that you don't hear someone give you a direction, you might say that you were absorbed in the book. So absorbed in a book that he did not hear the bell ring. Or to occupy or fill. This job absorbs all of my time. It soaks up all of your time. So some synonyms, if something absorbs something else, it consumes it, it swallows it, it takes it in. So the opposite would either be to abstain from it, to just not mess with it at all, or to release it and let it go. So whenever I think of something absorbing another item, I think about lettuce and how if you leave lettuce in colored water and water with food dye, it will absorb the food dye with the water and change colors, as you can see. So it absorbed the food dye and the water. The next word for this week is predatory, which is an adjective. Not really a good thing. In zoology, whenever you're talking about animals, it is preying upon other organisms for food. You could also say predatory means of, relating to, or characterized by plunder, pillage, robbery, or exploitation. So that means that an animal or a person could be predatory. Some synonyms are greedy or voracious, hunting. Some antonyms or opposites are passive, tame, or gentle. So if I got a baby rabbit, I might call it passive or tame or gentle. But if I'm thinking about a large wild cat like a lion or a cheetah or a tiger or a hyena, then I might describe that as predatory, something that is preying upon other organisms. You can hear Twix there claiming that he is not predatory, probably. Brace is a verb. Brace has a lot of definitions, as you can see. I'm starting off with definition 15, so I skipped the nouns and I wanted to find the verbs. Brace can mean to furnish, fasten, or strengthen with, or as if with a brace. Could also mean to fix firmly, to make steady, to secure against pressure or impact. So some synonyms for brace would be to fortify something, to prepare something, to ready something. And some antonyms would be to weaken, catch, fail, or free something. So you could brace yourself mentally. For example, this cat here is bracing yourself for winter. I know that winter is not my favorite season. Long, cold walks with Twix are not my favorite. So I have to brace myself. The next word for this week is reinforce. Reinforce is a verb. You might reinforce something. That is the action. The definition of reinforce is to strengthen with some added piece, support, or material. You could strengthen with additional personnel, ships, or aircraft also. And finally, you could strengthen or make more forcible or effective in general. So if you are reinforcing something, you're bolstering it, you're boosting it, you're increasing it, you're supporting it. Those are all verbs that mean you are doing the same thing, that you're strengthening it. The opposite or antonym of reinforce would be to decrease, diminish, hinder, or lessen something. So if I'm thinking about the first definition, to strengthen with some added piece, support, or material, I'm thinking about most doors have one lock, but if you lived in, say, a dangerous area, maybe you would reinforce your door. And if you got really crazy with it, it might look something like this. That has a lot of reinforcements. But the second definition says you can also reinforce with personnel, ships, or aircraft. Well, that makes me think about the Navy or the military. If a country is in a war and they are not winning, then they might send reinforcements, which are people that are there to reinforce what is already there. We now have saliva, which is a noun. It is a thing. It is a viscid, watery fluid secreted into the mouth by the salivary glands that functions in the tasting, chewing, and swallowing of food. It moistens the mouth and it starts the digestion of starches. So I hear a lot of people normally use the synonyms of saliva, so spit, drool, or slobber. We don't actually use the correct medical term and say saliva. I don't say Twix got saliva on me. I normally say he got slobber. Not that Twix ever slobbers, of course. You might also think of a baby. Okay. You will sometimes see spit or drool or slobber. Those are synonyms for saliva. And who knew saliva did so many things? It helps you taste, chew, swallow food. It gives you a moist mouth. And it helps you start digesting starches. Don't forget as we go along, if you have a word that is new to you that you would like to go back to the definition of, then pause and record it in your personal dictionary. The next word is earthen. Earthen means it is composed of earth. So it is earth-like, loamy, or terrestrial. So if I think about a building, some buildings are very new and sleek and modern. If I go to a new Apple store, I expect it to have glass and a lot of electronics, and it does not make me think of earth. But if I were to look at a building like this, I might say that reminds me quite a bit of earth, of soil and rock, and so I might say it is a very earthen building. So that is earthen. And the final word for this week is vibration. We will definitely work with vibrations a lot whenever we get to sound and science. So what is a vibration? A vibration is an instance of vibrating. It is a thing, it is a noun. But I don't know what a vibration is if I don't know what vibrating is by the definition. So I clicked on vibrating and found the definition of it. That's a bit out of order. The definition of vibrate is to move or cause to move continuously to and fro. To pulse, reverberate, tremor, pulse. The opposite or the antonym would be stillness. So I'm thinking about a drum, and the way a drum makes sound is that whenever you hit it, it then causes the piece of the drum that you hit to go back and forth, to and fro continuously. And that is the vibration. So these are the vocab words for the week. Any words that you do not know, you are welcome to add to your personal dictionary, and you are welcome to rewatch this video at any time.